Hello everybody, namaste, good evening, good morning to people in different parts of the world, in India and everywhere. How are you all doing today?
Good.
Great.
Good, all good.
Okay, who is that? Is that Nita Turner?
That's
Hi.
right, that's me. Hi.
Happy to hear you. Yeah. How about the rest? How are we doing this evening? Welcome to this wonderful webinar.
All good, Paras.
Hi, who is that? Is it Anil? Hi,
Anil, yeah.
Good evening to you, Anil.
Good evening.
How are you doing this evening?
All good.
Good to hear that, yes. You can also come on video if you wish to, everybody. It's great to have you.
Okay, I'll just
And
come
we-
on the video.
Okay, great. Thank you. Hi. Hi, Janki. Hi, Pratima. Good morning to you.
Hi Paras, good morning.
Morning. Good morning. Okay. It's a little new thing that I'm doing this evening, so yeah. Okay. So people joining in, so welcome everybody to this wonderful session on what is it to be a mindfulness practitioner. My name is Paras, and I would be conducting this webinar, and I'm super excited and nervous because after COVID, I think this is one of my first webinar I started, like it's getting back in action. So a lot of things, this year has been an amazing year for me. I'm just becoming mindful about the strength and courage that I carried in this whole journey, of transformation, I could call it. So we will first start with everyone, just if you would like to say hi and where are you from or something like that, or how are you feeling this evening? Anything that you'd like to share a little bit, how are you feeling, where are you from, would be great.
I could go first, Paras.
Okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Nita Turner. I live in Mumbai and I'm feeling very happy and excited to be here to listen to you, Paras, because I'm super excited to know what you have to share with us regarding NLP and mindfulness meditation, because these two topics are very close to my heart as well. So yeah, happy and excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for that. How about the rest, if you would like to just...
Yeah. So hi,
Carry
I'm
on.
Pankaj. Sorry, yeah. Anil, you want to go first?
No, carry on. I'll go after you.
Yeah. So I'm Pankaj from Bangalore, and I'm interested in mindfulness. I use it myself personally for a long time, and in my coaching practice as well. So I'm quite keen to know what are the different perspectives on this and how NLP is used in this.
Great. Thank you for that, Pankaj. Anyone else?
Hi, I am Anil Chandiramani. I am based in Mumbai. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Anil.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm based in Mumbai. I've been a PCC since about 3 years now, and Paras has been my coach, come guide, come friend, come philosopher, and I would really love to I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to tell us today.
Thank you for that. Yes. Thank you, Anil.
Hi, Paras.
Hey, Kanal. Yes.
Hi, I'm Colonel Lebupage. I've just retired from the army last year. And end of last year, I just did a course in mindfulness and I liked it. And presently, I'm pursuing ICF with Paras. He's my mentor and guide. So I really want to learn get more into this mindfulness because I like it. So I'm quite excited about this webinar today. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have it's about 2 minutes. So if anybody would like to jump in, would be great.
Hi Paras, this is Ganesh Kumar Srinivasan from Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu.
Hi Ganesh, namaste.
Hi, namaste. I've read a lot, but I thought this is my first webinar on mindfulness. I'm equally excited and a little nervous as well.
Same here, Ganesh. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sharmila and I'm from Delhi, and I've always wanted to practice mindfulness, so I'm really looking forward to this, Dr. Paras.
Thank you, Sharmila. You can call me Paras, Sharmila.
Hi Paras. Hi everyone. This is Pratima. I'm based out of Virginia, US. Very excited to be in another class with Paras. So hopefully this will also help me in my other sessions I'm attending with Paras, the ICF.
Great. Thank you for that.
Hi Paras, and hi, good evening all of you.
Hi Shweta.
I'm from Bangalore. I am a follower of non-duality from Advaita. So, and in terms of mindfulness, from NLP and other space as well. So I want to understand in depth. So I've been reading some of your articles, so quite impressed. So I'm in your webinar for the first time, so get excited to hear from you.
Thank you. Sure.
Hi Paras, this is Indranil Benadikar. I'm joining from Kuala Lumpur.
Okay.
And it's good to be here today with everyone. Very excited to be a part of this discussion today.
Thank you, Indranil, for that.
Hi Paras, this is Arun.
Hey Arun, good morning.
Hey, good afternoon Paras. Good introduction.
Glad to have you as well. So maybe what we can do right now is we can just do a little bit of checking with ourselves quickly with a small quiz that I have for you. Okay, and we will see how it plays out for everyone. Okay, this is one for you all. Which is your favorite tense? The tense is a time, is a past, present, future, don't know. Okay, great. I get a lot of answers, people talking about present, lovely. Great. If you ask me, I'm in all tenses. I feel many times I'm in past, many times I'm in present, many times I'm future. So I keep revolving a lot more. But I'm so happy that your favorite tense is present. And so it's some sort of acknowledgement that mindfulness seems to be a wonderful experience for all of you. So yeah. So we get everybody at 100% voting for present. Yeah. Excellent. The next one that I want to check with you all is, how do you reflect? Do you do reflective practice? If you're aware about the word reflective practice, you could say yes. If no, it's no. If don't know, it's don't know. And you can probably, we can explore that as well. Right. So another 5 seconds more if you want to participate. And it's absolutely okay if you don't do, or if you do it, or if you don't do it. Okay. This is the result that we get. So 8 out of 12 people say yes, 2 say no, 2 say don't know. And the last one that's framed a little different. Do I think mindfulness is only going to lead to spirituality if you say yes or no or maybe or all options? Do I think mindfulness is only going to lead towards spirituality? Still be ending the poll now. So we get some people saying yes, some people saying no, some people saying maybe, and some people saying all options. Yeah, I go for all options as well for myself. I believe that it's a combination of so many things. Yeah. So let me share the screen with you all. So we're doing this webinar, which is on what is it to be a mindfulness practitioner, and it's going to be for 60 minutes. And people who are already coaches or who are looking for their renewals, if you've registered with registered with the CCU option, then you'll also get a closing the closing password. You can go back to the same link in your application that's been provided to you, and you can put that and you can claim your certificate. So if you have any confusions, do write an email to me. I'll be happy to support you as well. The goal of the session is to take you through some questions to explore, which we have already done. Then something to understand about mindfulness, very basic, that I want to really begin with. Benefits of mindfulness. Who is a mindfulness practitioner? Mindfulness practitioner career opportunities and metrics. Next webinars are coming batch and short meditation. So, and which I've forgotten, that would be everywhere throughout, is point number 9 is questions. So if you have any questions which you would like to ask, there is an option where you could say, where you can raise your hands and then probably ask questions, or if you want to share your reflections as well, would be great. The core competency that we would be offering in this webinar would be on mindfulness. Core competencies would be self-reflection, being in the present moment, presence, observing. CC3 would be commitment, moving, progression, direction, action, conclusion, and momentum. So this webinar is also by Inner Universe Education Foundation, which is primarily looking at mindfulness core competencies. They've come up with mindfulness core competencies. And the ICF core competency that we look at here embodies a coaching mindset, the new 8 core competencies of ICF. So learning this webinar is going to help you to understand from an ICF perspective, what is a coaching mindset. So we have done this little exercise in a different way. Let's get back to what exactly is mindfulness. Now, at the start of the session, I asked your question that what's your favorite tense? And many of them, or 100% of the crowd, said it's my present tense. But the question that I would like to ask everyone is, how frequently, or how do you recognize, how do you realize that you are in your present tense all the time? Or are you mindful about, or are you grounded enough to be in the present tense all the time? So mindfulness is a wonderful space. My journey started at the age of 10 when I asked this question to my teacher: why do we live the way we live our lives? Okay, there is some sort of autopilot space that I see everybody structured in a particular way, but I'm not very happy. I want to pause. I want to breathe, and I want to understand why we do things the way we do. We never question. Unfortunately, the school that I went, my teachers said that, you study, and that's a structure. You study and get good marks and get going with your life. Become an engineer, a doctor, or somebody that makes meaning for you. But I was not very happy. From there, the phenomenological question started off, why am I here? Who am I? What is my existence? And eventually, at the age of 22, 23, my journey on mindfulness began to understand more about the process, the more about the present, the more about how can I account for self, others, situations, environments, relationship. And that's something which put me into some sort of grounding space. I was more comfortable with that space that, hey, yeah, this makes really sense, rather than thinking about the past and the future. What about how do I live in the present moment? Then the question started about, how can I be more peaceful? And this definition that really helped me a lot more. So I love Buddhism concepts, but I'm a person who likes to learn from various different schools of thoughts and come up with what makes meaning for me. So I will quote the Buddha's quote: do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment. So this is a journey that takes you into the depths of your own internal self. The practice of mindfulness is a journey of awakening, one where you will hold yourself in a gentle light of awareness. Now this gives me a lot of feeling of happiness and contentment, that I need to be present. But how? The question comes is, how do I know that I'm not? Because 60,000 thoughts travel by my mind in one day. So how do I really make sure that a common man like who does his day-to-day work, does coaching, does training, talks to people, how can I be more mindful? So I came up with my own definition of mindfulness, and I felt that this was resonating a lot more with the work that I do. And we can have some more question and answer sessions on the same as well. So for me, mindfulness is a psychological and spiritual process of evolving and growing awareness. So some people, when I asked that, do you do reflective practice? Some people said, yes, no, maybe, don't know. So how do I know I'm growing? My awareness is growing. How do I become aware about my own self, of my doings, about the way I see things, about the way I process information? So Kolb's learning cycle is one of the very popular theory. You can also visit. It's there on the Google. So reflective practices like, let's say, a situation that happened that troubles me, or that gives me some sort of trigger all the time. Or many a times I see a pattern evolving. I do not remember what is my struggle, but what I see is some sort of feeling not okayness. So what if I take a pause and I just stop talking about what I'm going through, what am I experiencing it? Maybe one of the best ways to do is to journal your thought process. One of the best simple way is to journal what I'm experiencing. Sometimes you meet certain people. Maybe if you're meeting your clients or some people in your organization, could be anyone. And after you meet them, and you are either positively or negatively moved by some sort of experience that you witness within yourself. It's a good thing to just pause and ask yourself, what am I experiencing in the moment? How am I experiencing it? What exactly is getting triggered? What is that incongruency in my thoughts and the way I feel my emotions and my actions? So the more and more I am reflective, the more and more I'm mindfully exploring what is going on within me. It helps me, it grounds me to be in the present, because I become aware of all the unconscious things that is there in my room or in my space. I always bring in my coaching conversation, we talk about, can you bring the elephant in the room, or just tap in the elephant, which is the big elephant in the room. And I say, are we really talking about the elephant or the invisible elephant? Because we all know what I'm going through, but we do not really know what is ulteriorly I'm holding it within myself. So the invisible elephant is something which I'm just aware in myself, but I'm not voicing it out. I'm not bringing it out. Maybe I'm not aware, or I do not have the permission enough to bring it in this space. So even in my coaching conversation, if a client says that I have difficulty dealing with my boss, is that the actual issue or the concern the client wants to raise, or there is something more in what is not being said, and that's what I call the invisible elephant. So if you're able to, do reflective practice to explore about what is happening inside you, your emotions, your thoughts, and how are they contributing to certain behavior that you do, itself could be a good experience to begin with your growing awareness. Because awareness is constantly there. It's just that the moment you become mindfully aware that you're in this room, like if I'm mindfully aware in this room, I see only my participants or people who are attending this webinar, but I also start learning a lot more about them. It's also increasing your awareness. So awareness is constantly there. It's just that, what's the name of the Mount Everest before it was discovered? It was Mount Everest. So it's just that you're getting in touch with your own self and knowing and learning more about yourself. So here I also look at, when you're doing reflective practice or you're growing your awareness, you're looking at from different lenses. One of the lenses, what emotions are you experiencing? What thoughts are you experiencing? What beliefs are getting triggered? What is the value that you are getting in touch with, that you're valuing about things that makes you feel good or not good? Or what is the identity that is coming across to you or you are coming across to somebody when you're dealing with certain things? So I'm going very abstract conversation right now, just to give you an idea that you can reflect at various lenses. You can reflect from the way you're behaving, from your thoughts, from your emotions, from your beliefs, from your values, from the way you're perceiving yourself. And in mindfulness, when you're reflecting, you're observing, you're questioning, and you're reflecting. These are the central themes to live in the moment. So the three things that I learned is, the more and more I observe, the more and more I question. So ICF talks about, be a student rather than a teacher. Let the client be the teacher, coach be the student. So the more I question, I reflect, I learn a lot about myself, I learn a lot about my client, which is leading to gain accountability, emotional sensitivity, and effective communication. So these are different components that I add in. Okay, one of the important components that I talk about of mindfulness is accountability. So whenever you feel you're stuck, whenever you feel that you want to explore more, whenever you feel that you want to reflect, there's a couple of questions that you can ask yourself. One is, what am I accounting about myself? And what am I discounting about myself here? What am I accounting about the other person? What am I discounting about the other person? What am I accounting about the relationship between both of us, or 3 or 4 people, or the group? What am I discounting about this group? What am I accounting about the environment setting? In the same way, am I discounting anything in the environment? How am I accounting about the situation that we are in that moment? And what am I discounting about the situation? So the more and more question I ask on accountability, then I don't see conflict. Then I don't see, there is some sort of ambiguity. But I see a lot of clarity towards me. The second part that I bring in mindfulness is the emotional sensitivity. Now, culturally, when I look at an Asian country or India as a whole, the emotions that I'm allowed to express in gender-wise could be limited. Maybe anger was one of the emotions that was okay for me. So whenever I wanted to express things to people, I always express via anger, or it could be happiness. But there are so many other shades of emotion that I was never aware that I have the permission to use it. So the more and more I am emotionally aware about my emotions, how do I experience these emotions? Sometimes, is it about anger or sadness? So mindfulness also helps me to get in touch with my emotional zones. What exactly is the emotion getting triggered for me? Rather than what emotion am I communicating to the outside world? So many of my clients, when I work on mindfulness, work with them, I ask them, what is the emotion that you experience? I experience sadness. What is the emotion that that you're allowed to and not allowed to? And the client says that I'm not allowed to be angry. Okay, and what would happen if you demonstrate anger? What would happen if you experience anger or share about your anger as an emotion? What would happen? What would change? And that again unfolds a lot for all of us, that how can we be more aware about our emotions and our emotional needs. And effective communication, I think that's I call the word as critical voice. We all have this critical voice about what we should do and what we should not do. So the moment, even if I'm talking to you, there may be a critical voice to me telling I should be in this way to make a presentation or that way in making a presentation. So if I make a mistake, it either leads to a guilt, regret, shame, could be anything. So effective communication is to how do I reduce that internal chatter which constantly criticizes me and build up a better way to explore what is something that I'm experiencing, what is something that I want to do, what is something that I want to communicate. So communication here with self and others and environment helps me by being mindfully aware that what I want to communicate or what I should communicate. So there's a lot of should messages that I explore with my clients in the mind. Can you put yourself? If you have a question. I'm sorry, who's that? Okay. Where's the voice coming from? Okay. So, and the last part of the section that I want to build in here is the ability to detach from fantasies and unconscious patterns, which I call them as injunctions and drivers, to create balance and equanimity. So I'm going to pause here a little bit and I'm going to invite people, if you have any questions on the definition, because this is a part that I'll be talking a lot, and I would like, if you have questions, if you have to share some reflections or learnings, would be great too. Okay, so let me ask you all, how are you feeling? Where are you? What are you learning? What are you exploring? What's getting clear? Yes, Colonel.
Yeah, Paras, like what you have given the definition and what it says about, understanding your inner self. So I think it's entirely spiritual. I mean, this whole dimension is spiritual. So what is abstract in this? Like, my question is, if a person is not spiritual, then how can he apply this mindfulness as a technique in his everyday life? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that. So for what we say is the word spiritual, okay, could be my frame of reference. Okay. So for me, I look at spirituality from knowing myself better. Okay, so how mindfully I'm aware about my thoughts, my emotions, and my actions. I coin it as the concept of T. Okay, thoughts, emotions, and actions. What kind of congruency do I have when I'm taking a decision? Whether it's communicating with self, communicating with others. Okay, so in my day-to-day life, how reflective can I be about the way I communicate with others? As simple as that, do I compliment at least 5 people a day? Do I give positive strokes? Can I be more mindful about that? Because the foundation in psychology for every human being existence is acknowledgement. That's our basic hunger to be acknowledged. So if I'm mindful about simple things, that how can I just work with different people? And one of the things that I talk about is stroking. The more and more I stroke people, Okay, the more and more positive energy I create. Now, for that, I don't need to be a spiritual person of some sort of bhakti marg or jnana marg. I can be simply as living a very simple thing of creating better positive energy within the workplace. So this is something which goes for me for rather than just a spiritual, or it's an ever-growing awareness. The more and more I'm aware, the more I'm learning. How about the rest? If you would like to share with me if something that you are reflecting upon, if there is no question. Yes, Nita.
Yeah, just adding on to what you said, actually, Dr. Paras, is that this is my take on spirituality and mindfulness and the difference of the two. Perhaps spirituality could be when you actually commune with something beyond yourself that we term as spiritual, or we term as universal energy, or we term as a soul. Whereas a mindfulness per se would be, we are sticking to the mind and going within the inner depths of your own conscious and unconscious mind. We're not stepping into the forum of probably a spiritual energy field. We are keeping ourselves confined to probably our conscious and unconscious mind per se. So they are both going within, of course, but the dimension of going within is a bit different. So in that concept, it could be not, it could be both. So yes, that's what I would say.
Thank you, Nita, for that as well. So adding more thoughts. Anyone else would like to share? What are you learning so far, or what are you reflecting on?
Paras, it's quite insightful. It's a different, complete new perspective I got from whatever you shared. I have a question here. Is it similar to whatever we call witness, choiceless awareness, where you simply observe, you become an observer when we say mindfulness?
So what I understand your question is that the more, if I'm in an observational mode, am I operating from mindfulness?
Right.
Okay. So for me, I think when I look back to the definition, for me, I think it combines your observation, your questioning, and reflecting. Okay. So for me, observation is one part of, it's like dhyana and dharana of Ashtanga Yoga, where you're focusing your attention and you're getting ready for it. But for my day-to-day life, okay, how can I just be observing, but rather than reacting? Now, a simple thing to look at is from the time when we, from our very, nomadic age of a life where we evolved from, the reptilian brain was very active because it was always looking for fight and flight. And it was always looking at how can I protect myself. And that's where the brain, which is very active all the time, is instinctive brain, which gives you a reaction. So the mindfulness is just helping you to evolve from operating from the executive brain, where you're observing and questioning. It's not a test that I need to answer quickly. Can I reflect on what I'm observing? Can I question on what is coming rather than just reacting to situation or reacting to a self? So observing is the foundation. So the five senses that we look at and observing. And what Buddha or Buddhism study says that there are six senses. The sixth is the mind. So it separates the five from the sixth one. So again, the question comes, and these are all, again, another perspective if you look at, these are all different concepts, because we feel very comfortable in concepts. If we don't have a concept, then it's difficult. So for me, I look at observation, questioning, and reflecting. Okay, so I observe, I witness what I'm experiencing. Okay, then I question on that at regular intervals, and keep reflecting by getting my awareness grow as much as it can. Okay. Earlier days, I used to find that example by why my parents couldn't give me enough time to get the food on the table, agreed, but the child was always feeling very uncomfortable. But today, when I become mindfully aware that I'm observing and reflecting and questioning and accounting not just me, but accounting the relationship, accounting my parents, accounting the environment and the situations that I was raised in. So then I don't have a conflict. I have more compassion. Even not only towards them, but also towards me. So I look at observing and reflecting and questioning myself. And the formula that I gave for accounting is one of the foundation part of mindfulness practitioner. That can you account for different things? And things which are not in your control, if you account, you're going to feel upset. Okay, so for me, accounting is one of the very important chapters. And at the moment I learned that in my life, I had less of complaints. I still have complaints, but less than what I used to have it earlier. And it was a lot of my journey than your journey, or it's about from you, this reaction. So it's what am I accounting? What am I performing? What am I doing? So mindfulness is helping me to ground myself a lot more. If you also notice in the definition I shared about this part, which is called is the ability to detach from the fantasies and unconscious patterns. Now, there's a lot of this fantasy I create because of others, how people can treat me, how the world is like this, why certain people treat in a particular way, or maybe how am I communicating? Okay, what am I giving it to? How is my presence creating a difference or creating disruption in that particular space? So it's no longer the other person's journey that you're good or bad or right or wrong or something. Because for me, I realized after accounting chapter that there's no good or bad or right or wrong. It's also everything is correct. One of the feedback that I share, that I realized that, in any of the webinars or sessions, or even a client telling me something, I said, whatever you're sharing, you're speaking from your own reality. So there is no absolute reality. It's a fantasy to see about there's an absolute reality. It's very perceptions. What you see and what I see is we're seeing from our frame of reference. So how can I acknowledge that? How can I account for that? So rather than discounting your definition or your perspective, how can I account for that? But I still have a choice to do what I feel is making meaning for me. So just going back to you, Ishwar, I really like the way you asked the question, so powerful. So just checking with you, was I able to address that question somewhere, or we got somewhere else?
Yeah, really profound. I have a lot of insights. Thank you so much. Yeah, you answered it. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, and we could have more concepts coming in from some of the other persons. So if anybody would like to share your thoughts, feel free at any point of time. Anyone else have any other question for me or any reflection? Pankaj, I saw you going off mute, so I want to check in.
Right. I agree that mindfulness starts with observation, as you correctly put. The foundation is observation, and my experience is actually the rest of it, the reflection and questioning, happens as a natural way forward to that. So all we have to start with observation, that makes so you can start. So in terms of do we have to be spiritual? You don't. I mean, you can start this observation in your day-to-day task, like eating food or talking to others or reading a book, whatever. It need not be done with a spiritual intention. But invariably, I found that once you are observing more and more, you start observing yourself, your mind, as you say, or your sensations as well. And that leads to spiritual journey is a journey towards yourself, and that leads to that journey. And it is a kind of a pious circle.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I'm just gonna, reinstate back again. The word spirituality could also, you have to check whose definition. Do you have a definition? Do you have a concept of what is spirituality? Okay, and some of them would say maybe it's spiritual from connecting to consciousness or super consciousness, but for somebody it could be just connecting to self. So maybe it's a good idea for in coaching conversation to understand different concepts. What is my client's concept about a particular thing would be very different than what I think about my own concepts. Okay, so thank you for sharing that, both of you, Pankaj and Ishwar. And the rest of them who are listening, if you would like to put it on a chat, how are you feeling at this moment? If you're listening for a while from the group, is also sharing a lot of their own insights. So how are you feeling at this moment as you're listening to this? So you can put that on the chat. In the meanwhile, I can go with the next part of the presentation. So there are certain essential components of mindfulness journey. One of them is self-awareness. A person completely tunes into the present moment with a focus on the present thought, current emotion, and present action. Self-awareness also means holding the ability to differentiate unconscious patterns from the growing awareness. So when we talk about unconscious pattern, is the autopilot mode that we live in. We never question, we never pause and question ourselves, why am I doing this? Or what is that I'm looking forward by doing this particular or demonstrating this particular behavior? If it's helping others, if it's not helping others, or if I see that I'm getting stuck in my life by again and again, I end up getting into the same vicious cycle of discomfort, I could probably take a pause and ask myself, well, what is the pattern emerging for me? The next part that I endorse a lot is the accountability. A person is able to develop an ability to evaluate their decisions, behaviors, and actions with complete conviction. They're also able to raise accountability in others towards their decisions, behaviors, and action, and also account for their own decisions, behaviors, and actions. The third part that I brought in was emotional sensitivity. This represents one's ability to understand different emotions, create acceptance and acknowledgement while learning about self-expression. It's about demonstration of caring attitude, respect, and being true to self and genuine with others. So we discussed this. I'm just going to take you through quickly. Communication, exchange of information about self to self and others, and the interaction influenced by culture, beliefs, family values, emotions, parental message, and interpretations. So just to bring a little bit space, that when we are communicating, we are not communicating alone with the other party. We are communicating with our whole system. So when I'm talking to Pankaj or Sharmila, I'm not talking alone. Is my culture, my family system, my beliefs, my values are all there present. So I'm never talking alone. So a client never comes alone in a coaching session. They bring themselves, or they bring a lot of their cultural family system, their own beliefs, their own values. And the most important thing is the interpreter, the way they interpret information. They bring their filters in the room. So how can you be mindfully aware while talking to them? How can you communicate with them and supporting them for self-expression? Supporting them that they could be themselves in the session. And it takes a lot of, a lot of courage for the coach to first unlearn a lot about himself or herself, and then work with others. So you yourself are also bringing a lot of things in the room. You're never present alone. You are with your whole system. So being mindful that not to get carried away by client stories, and then focus on the client's context or communicating with the client context will be a good space for you to be in. And then the injunctions and drivers, I will quickly take you through this. Injunctions and drivers are certain messages. So let's say Injunctions are messages received from parents or parental figures in the early childhood days. This includes sentences that often contain negative and obligatory messages that form a part of the belief system. Now, this is something where you talk about in coaching the who part of the client, if you are aware about, okay, from the ICF, ICF context. So the who part is the beliefs and values. So when we're looking at the beliefs, we're going a little deeper to understand what is making that belief in a particular way, or why people behave or endorse that belief so much. Because these beliefs are coming from certain injunctions. These injunctions, there are 12 injunctions. Well, one of the injunctions could be, don't make it. So if a client comes to me by telling me that I always feel that I'm not successful enough, so maybe the injunction that is picked up by the client at an early experiences of his life or her life could be, don't make it, or I cannot be successful, or the constant message that I'm not good enough. One of the very core belief people come is maybe they are top performers, but hold this belief within themselves that I'm not good enough. And this fear of holding this belief tends to put them into a vicious cycle of constantly beating or taking a lot of pressure or stress while working. So they're effective leaders, okay? However, within themselves, there's a lot of internal struggle. So when you're doing a mindfulness work with them, you can always invite them, how is this belief impacting you? Or any questions, inviting them to bring that belief and exploring that belief deeper. And that's where I call the invisible elephant. So I'm just going to take a pause if everybody's clear about the word injunctions. And the drivers we talk about is the coping strategy that we develop by our own. So let's say if I have the injunction of don't make it, my coping strategy by myself created could be try hard or be perfect. So a lot of times if you see people saying that everything has to be perfect, the way it has to be, otherwise I'll be unhappy, or it disappoints, or it gets me a trigger and I get into conflict. So maybe this coping strategy of, let's say, I have to be perfect or try hard, puts them into a cycle of not to fail. But that also creates a lot of stress within themselves. So how are we going to be mindfully become aware about very simple thing of when I say that I'm perfectionist, what it means to me to be a perfectionist. So just getting their concepts in the room can be very helpful. So the more you discover the who, the fantasies go off. What gets in more is more clarity, and you're more grounded in the here and now. So sometimes if I give myself the permission, okay, I can make mistakes. I'm allowed to make mistakes, and I can make, and it's normal, it's general, everybody does it. And I'm more mindful that, hey, I have the permission to be me. And that's again what mindfulness talks about. You're counting yourself here. What are you okay and what you're not okay about? So I'm realizing that we have another about 10, 12 minutes remaining. It's 7:48, so 12 minutes remaining. So I want to quickly check in with you that what is something, or what is one thing that you have felt interesting about the mindfulness of what is it to be a mindfulness practitioner? What is one thing that you felt was interesting for you? If somebody or a few of them would like to put that on the chat, and a few of them would like to share it, would be great. And then we can do a quick meditation on mindfulness of loving and accepting yourself. So if you'd like to explore that, we can do that as well. So we can spend about 5 minutes and understanding and concluding what is the key takeaway for me. And then we can go for a quick meditation on mindfulness if everybody's okay with that. So you can type in the chat section. Some of them can come online and share about it. Yes, Sharmila, go ahead. Good.
Pars, why is it called mindfulness practitioner? Meditation, we don't say meditation practitioner. I wanted to know the implication of the word practitioner.
Yeah.
You have to consciously, obviously you have to, but do you do it all the time or on a particular time? That's one part. And the other part of the question is, even in last 10 years, this wasn't so much talked about. Why now? As groups, as people, do we need mindfulness more than before now?
Okay, so interesting question. So first question is mindfulness practitioner, because the word mindfulness practitioner, I got it copyrighted as well as trademarked. Okay, so the word mindfulness practitioner, I created the program. So there's a particular certification we offer on mindfulness practitioner. So, and that was a goal for, to how you could be a mindfulness practitioner using coaching and mindfulness skills. So you could call yourself anything. You could be a coach, you could be a mentor, you could be, a life coach. There's a new thing that I created with the years of my own experiences. How can you be a mindfulness practitioner? Because post-COVID, I realized, or during my COVID time, I realized that I need to talk to some people. So for me, mindfulness helped me a lot, because the more and more I became mindful about my own self with different concepts, different exercises that I went through, it helped me to heal or to come out from my COVID and other things swiftly. And second question, why now? I think mental health is very important. Okay, and I think one of the simple thing in mindfulness is it helps you to be in the present. So you have a choice to make what you want to do about your life. So in today's space that I see, a lot of mindfulness work is done in different phases. So some could be a coach, counselor, therapist, or could be anything, or any particular role you may be playing. But mindfulness is played very strongly. So why not create a mindfulness practitioner, as a standalone program for people? Yeah. So David says we perceive the world as we are not, as the world is the reality. Understanding and reflecting on different perspectives on mindfulness was interesting. So anybody else would like to share? I would like to also give you all the closing completion code. It is OBN NCM. If you have a mobile, you can take a picture of this quickly. So when you're claiming for your CCU hour, it's OBN NCM. These are some of our upcoming webinars. In case if you want to go for some more ICF CCU hour, please go for, or you want to attend more to know mindfulness for leaders or mindfulness practitioners as an alternate career, you have some options here. You can take a picture of this. In case if you are looking for a PPT presentation, do email it to me. I will send this PowerPoint presentation to you. Valnita says mindfulness is a portal to the present moment. I like that word, portal, which is the gateway to our soul. Mindfulness, Ganesh says mindfulness will surely help reduce the number of unwanted thoughts. And I don't back and forth with past and future. Ashwin says, please, can you share this with you again? Okay. So it's OBN NCM. It's just N is in lowercase and N is in caps, then C is lowercase, M in caps. So if you're ready, everyone, for a quick session, you can go off with you. If you have a little space to close your eyes and sit, relax. I would be doing a small meditation, and you can experience. And if you want to, if your time is getting like we have 6 minutes more, and this audio will take 9 minutes. In case if you want to stay back, you're most welcome, or you can quit around 6 minutes from now. Up to you completely. So you all can go off with you if you want. You can simply close your eyes, and please let me know if you're able to hear the voice. Yes, enter.
Hello. Welcome to your mindfulness.
Okay, you're able to hear the voice, right, everyone? Thank you. Starting in next 20 seconds.
Whereas I cannot hear the audio.
You're not able to hear the audio?
No.
Not even me.
I'm sorry, guys. Extremely sorry for that. So let me just give me 1 second. Check quickly.
Hello. And welcome to your mindfulness session.
Are you able to hear it now?
Yeah, it's
Yes, we can.
it's a little very low.
Okay.
Of healthy self-esteem. Sometimes it can be difficult for us to really love ourselves. Things happen and we doubt ourselves. We have to learn to love ourselves, even in the face of doubts and fear. Loving yourself in spite of your flaws and imperfections is the first step to feeling better. Your self-worth comes from deep inside you, in a place of total acceptance. Loving yourself means accepting yourself. It's about stopping the tendency to try and fix yourself. Mindfulness tells us that there is nothing to fix. You're already perfect in every way. Accepting yourself at the moment is what the session is all about. So with that, find a comfortable position. Begin to breathe slowly and fully. In through your nose and slowly exhaling through your mouth. Taking another deep breath and slowly exhale. Begin to accept the attitude of letting go. Take another slow, deep breath and gently close your eyes. Allow yourself to soften, relax, Allow yourself to be at peace. Now you may breathe at your own natural, comfortable pace. And in this relaxed state of mind, ask yourself what it would take for you to completely love yourself exactly as you are. Accepting yourself for who you are is so important. Sometimes we forget how amazing each of us is. It's important to realize that it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to love and accept yourself. Take a moment to breathe deeply and notice if there are any areas of the body that feel numbed. Breathe in a breath of love and compassion into the body, into any tight areas, and notice how much better that makes you feel. If you feel any emotional discomfort, acknowledge it and accept it. Remember that it is part of your experience in life. Breathe in a breath of acceptance and compassion. Try and let go of any judgments you feel about yourself. Let go of any and all expectations. Ask yourself what you need to do at this moment to fully love and accept yourself. Honor yourself. Love yourself. Give yourself some compassion and give yourself some love. Breathe in deeply and fully. And perhaps you may even feel like repeating some affirmations, such as I love and accept myself. I love myself unconditionally, no matter what. I'm proud of who I am. I value myself. Take one moment to reflect on how these statements make you feel. Repeating them once again. I love and accept myself. I love myself
feeling? Stretch yourself if you want to. Stretch your hands, move your neck a little bit. Okay. So the last 1 minute. How are you feeling? How are you?
Very relaxed for us. Looks like we forgot everything, the entire world. Everything was left behind.
Sure. Okay, thank you for that. I'm just sharing the rest of them if you would like to. Are you comfortable wherever you are? Are you okay? This was the last slide. You can take a picture of this. And in case if you want the PPT, just email it to me. I will email back to you the PDF. So lovely meeting you all. Thank you so much. I look forward to see you in many more webinars. Okay, so please do claim your 1 CCU hour. Have a wonderful time ahead. Good night. And bye-bye.
Hey, Paris, thank you for
Bye,
conducting
Paris.
this wonderful session. Really appreciate it.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.